When I played Portal with ray tracing, you could see that happening in one instance where there was like a really, really bright area light source. It was the place where you incinerate the companion cube. And the incinerator had a really, really, really bright area light source on the inner side. So when you open the door, open the lid of the incinerator, the light starts flooding out, but because it's so bright, it takes like a few seconds to reach the full brightness because like it just keeps casting rays until it reaches the correct brightness. And then when you close the lid again, it again takes a few seconds for the light to like for the glow to go away again. Because it takes that long for enough rays to accumulate for the game to figure out the correct brightness level as the door opens and closes, right? And by doing that, you can see that it's just like the light source is just casting rays over time, and then all those rays just kind of accumulate, and then the oldest ones gets forgotten to make room for the latest ones. And that's how they solve the problem for not being able to calculate everything in real time at the same time. They do the calculation over a number of seconds, and they just add up the calculations together. Anyway, 6th floor is done, 7th floor. I mean, when it reaches this brightness, maybe this is also wrong. Maybe this is too bright. Because instead of gradually subtracting the oldest rays, it's just accumulating all the rays, adding them all up, and then deleting them all at once, right? It's probably a programming error. It's probably quite a simple programming error too. How says you'd love Skyrim with ENB and the lighting mod. Such a massive variation in everyone's ideal lighting for the game. Everybody has a different idea about what's good lighting. You know what I think? People probably like... Everyone has like a different favorite place, and they do the lighting that works for their favorite place, and then it doesn't work anywhere else. I would say some like realistic, i.e. pitch black at night in dungeons, others like playable, i.e. you can see everything. I mean, you know, in a way, maybe it's a good thing that it can be modded like that, because then everybody can just adjust their own lighting. Yeah, because Skyrim, Minecraft too, because there are so many different environments, right? Whatever you optimize for, it's probably going to be suboptimal for everything else. However, says for me, I like vanilla. Nothing is dark, and there isn't that orange ambience that most lighting mods give. I'm one of the few, apparently. No, I think a lot of people are okay with the vanilla. I mean, I'm fine with the vanilla Skyrim lighting. I mean, as much as we like to meme about Bethesda, Bethesda, they're not dummies, right? They're not stupid. Obviously, they chose the default lighting for a reason. And mostly, I think it's for gameplay reasons. Maintain visibility so the game is playable, and then try to make that as beautiful as possible. So priority 1 is playable, priority 2 is beautiful. How is this? Well, there are no mod lists that use vanilla lighting. Oh, that's really funny. But I feel like modders just mod for the sake of modding. How is this Lux is the new fad? Should I look up these screenshots? Do you have like links for screenshots of what these look like? And the thing is, everybody has a different monitor as well. So if a particular lighting setup looks good on your computer, on your screen, it doesn't necessarily mean that it would look good on other people's screens. How is this? I spend 90% modding, 10% play. Well, I mean, that's also a kind of gameplay. I mean, given how much less popular Fallout 76 is, maybe that's what that's what most people do, just mod the game and not actually play it. Because once you have a Bethesda game that doesn't allow you to mod, nobody plays it. Interesting. Interesting. How many doors do I have? Not that many. What floor am I on? 7. Oh, there's only one more floor. Are there any... So speaking about lighting mods in Skyrim, are there any like really creative slash innovative ones, as in completely like unexpected? Because, you know, people do realistic. I mean, obviously, that's obvious. Like, people do realistic, people do pretty. Does anyone do, like, just unexpected? What am I trying to say? I mean, given that you're allowed to mod, you can do, like, really creative things with it, right? How is this not really? This bleak and fantasy at the two extremes, low and high saturation. But there are so many shaders, right? There are. Okay, I'm out of trapdoors. Um, what's the game? It's a walking simulator. It's the disappearance of um what's his name? Anyway, it's one of these walking simulators that does interesting things with shaders. It also did interesting things with textures. Like it actually like took a real camera, a real high definition camera, and it took like pictures of real world objects and used that as textures, and everything's really highly detailed. How is this? And then the color scheme, like orange mentioned earlier. I mean, you can have some really weird shaders. Imagine if you like shade things differently, like highlight enemies, or like you know infrared vision, or like how is this? Yeah, Skyrim has that for textures too. It looks incredible, complex parallax too, so things look 3D. Super detailed textures. Skyrim is a huge game though. Does it does it kill your computer? Like does it really? Or can the computer handle it? Super detailed textures. In that game, like there's like a wooden bench, and you look at the wooden bench, you can see the splinters. I mean, like, you look at the wooden bench, and it's like, wow, you can look at the splinters in the wood. That's crazy. How is this? I'm using 12 gigabytes of my 12 gigabyte VRAM and nowhere near the limit of textures available. Yeah, I don't know. Who has that much RAM? Super interesting stuff. How is this? The general advice is 2K for most things and 4K for large things like mountains. 8K is getting fairly common for certain things. Yeah, people just pushing the limits. So, Skyrim, the lighting mods, are they just adjusting the lighting or are they actually using shaders? They're not using shaders, are they? Maybe I'm thinking about something different. Because if you want to add shaders to the game, you actually have to program it into the engine. Unless and that's also moddable. Refractions. You know, I haven't. I should play Skyrim again. I seem to remember there were refractions in Oblivion. Surely there's refractions in Skyrim, right? But I don't remember them. Maybe I just haven't turned them on my old computer. When you cast spells and they explode, like are there like refraction effects? And if there is, imagine like using a bow and you zoom in and it like highlights your targets somehow. I'm just trying to think what are the craziest things you can imagine using shaders. How is this? To be honest, I don't know. Some just fix the vanilla issues like where point sources are and leave the coloring alone. Others like Lux revamped the whole thing, I believe, most designed to work with ENB, which provides variability to all aspects of lighting, plus give parallax. Well, if they give parallax, that's a new shader, basically. I mean, the easiest thing is just changing the brightness of things, like changing how bright they are, changing the colors of various light sources. I mean, that's pretty easy. Or just moving them around. That's super simple. How is this ENB gives parallax, not the lighting mods? Hmm. Yeah, no, there's probably limits to how much you can mod. Because if you really want to change things, you need to do stuff like, like the high dynamic range, like how the stuff you see on screen, the actual numbers, like if you imagine like darkness, dark and bright, dark and bright, and then the dynamic range adjusts like which part of that you're looking at depending on like which part of the game is you require most visibility. So if you're like indoors, like it'll move the range down to the dark bit so you can see in the dark. If you go outdoors and it's sunny, then they move the range to the brightness. So stuff like that. But adjusting the width of the band and then adjusting how fast or where it adjusts the brightness, that stuff I don't know if that's moddable or if it's just built into the game engine.